Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and for the new expansion of the Boomsday project, is that what it's even called? The Boomsday project? Yes, the Boomsday project. I have opened up 150 plus card packs. We have a bunch of new cards, which means it is time for deck rebuilds, sorta, maybe. Anyways. It's a real shame, I will say at the very beginning here, that the Hearthstone developers, Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, just don't do a good job of telling me when these expansions come out, because I totally had today scheduled as a day off, and that is why we're starting rather late here. Now it's also kind of weird because theoretically there's maybe a Druid deck for standard and maybe a Druid deck for wild, but I think I'll probably want to try to keep everything a little bit tight and easy. Right now, I have this Druid character, and let's just
You were right to awaken me.
switch back to this Druid character while we're here. And we'll just switch this one, and we'll just switch this one, and seems like several of these others I could collect through doing several things. Some of these I think you actually can't collect very easily. Anyways, so for the Druid, I have a Beast 5+, which is to do the daily quest, and I have my classic Druid helper, and then I have a deck that's just labeled Druid, which I imagine is actually a combination of Druid cards and not really much else. Maybe this is an HS replay deck, but it doesn't have a name, and so that would probably not be one to keep. So there goes that one. Now Druid helper, it's a hard deck to get rid of, or it really even change, because it's designed specifically for me as a YouTuber to help the opponent play cards and just give them cards and refill their health and do several things like that. So I doubt that one would change too much. And then Beast 5 is, as it kind of sounds, you're playing a bunch of beasts. As I'm not sure there's actually a daily quest to play beasts, and it's playing several beasts that are 5+ mana because there's a daily quest on that. As for what is new, each player gains 2 mana crystals. I could definitely add that to Druid helper. If you control a Trent, discover a spell, summon a couple of Trents, give your other minions +1/+1, or summon a Trent, choose one, summon a copy of your each adjacent minion, and cost 1 less for each Trent that has died this game. So theoretically, we could make a Druid Trent deck. Let's see. So yeah, Trents, and I guess what we would want to do is throw that in. We're kind of just throwing everything in. Each of these cards, as they are Druid cards, but they're not any specific kind of minions. And Trent is Treant. And if I was to include this to standard cards, I can add 3 Trents to your hands, summon Trents, I can summon some more Trents, Let's see. Mana crystals in the trance. Summon some trance. And that gets you at 19 of 30. What else as far as the neutral cards? Let's see. Minions with 5 or more. 5 or more attack. So which ones have 5 or more attack? Not a lot of them. So I suppose what I could do is convert this to wild and see if we have any Trents that happen to just be wild cards. Destroy all minions and replace them with Trents. And yeah, it's like one card. Alright, not helpful. So what neutral cards in this expansion, or this is where it's going to be the case, is where are these neutral cards and are they going to help you? And a lot of these decks clearly could be mech decks. In fact, I would say you're in a good position to, if you have a lot of mechs now from this new expansion, to put that as any class you don't really like to play. Warlock would be a great way to, if you don't want to play demons and warlocks, play a mech deck in that. But that doesn't really play well with a Trent. Let's see. Whenever you shuffle another card into a deck, shuffle an extra copy. I imagine you could do something crazy with that card. Gain +1 health for each spell in your hand. Let's see. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, gain +1/+1. How many spells do I have? Actually, a decent amount of spells. So I see some challenge there. Goblin bombs. We really got to figure out what the goblin bombs are at some point. If you have 10 mana crystals, gain 10 attack. This is probably a card worth playing. If I had to, it probably is a card worth playing. In a lot of hands. Let's see. Here's the one legendary that everybody kind of needed to get for free, and I'm not sure everybody did get this card for free. I think I may have just lucked out and gotten it. This one just replaces your deck completely with something different. Summon 2 1/2 mix. See, I basically Whizbang. Adding Whizbang to your deck will remove all other cards. Continue. No, that's a new programming way of doing that. I thought the cards would still be in your hand. But apparently not. Yeah, there's kind of nothing here. Yeah, it's kind of empty. So gain mana crystals this turn only, and each player gains some mana crystals, and let's see, we need something that would be spell related. My deck is full already. There are also some saplings that I guess maybe there'd be a card at some point that adds to your deal with gaining mana crystals, or something that would turn saplings into trance. Okay. So that's one custom druid. If I was to take this custom druid and convert it to standard, it would be replacing 2 cards. So playing wild is not really that helpful. As far as Druid Helper, I did see 1 Boomsday card, 2 Boomsday cards I want to add. So draw a card. We'll get rid of this and take this. So each player gains 2 mana crystals immediately. That helps Druid Helper. If I was going to convert Druid Helper to standard, this a considerable amount of cards that would have to be replaced. No. Gotta be careful not to ruin my deck. Convert that back to wild. And let's get rid of Beast 5 right now. And let's just make, for our first test, Druid Whizbang. Let's see. Trees are friends. What would this be? This is mostly a Trent deck anyways. I have all the classic cards, almost all of the Witchwood cards, and I don't know what expansion this one's coming from. Alright. Let's see. Find Whizbang. And only Whizbang. And stick him in there. There he is. 1 of 1. And it immediately named that Whizbang the Wonderful. Interesting. And so our first experiment, let's just double check the new expansion single player hasn't come out. If it's like previous single player parts, that is going to happen probably in about a week. So 3 Druid things to give a try on. Let's try Whizbang the Wonderful. And Kriperian thought that this deck would give us one of the pre-built recipes that Blizzard has made. I'm not sure if that's the case. The recipes that you see recommended, like Trees Are Friends that I just looked at, or if it's just going to give us crazy cards.
Let the hunt begin. I will fight with honor.
This does not, to me, look like a recipe I've seen, but I am not particularly an expert at that either. So yeah, I'm looking at Hearthstone.
We have turned our curse
deck
into our strength.
Wow. So they just by default set me up well with that. Looking at all these cards. These are good cards. Looks like there's good cards here and good strategies. This might be the way for new players to play. Don't even build your own decks. Just let Hearthstone give you one of these Whizbang decks. I wonder how that would play out in tournament play, though. Like, do you just ban Whizbang decks, or do you say you can play it, but no one is under any obligation to match your play? Let's see. When one of your minions is attacked, give it Divine Shield or Noble Sacrifice. I'll do Noble Sacrifice. So this one's gonna summon a Golden Bomb. Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Oh, that's a Goblin Bomb. Have they always been Goblin Bombs? Have I just been misreading it this whole time? I might have been misreading it this whole time. It's probably too early to play this card because he has Divine Shield and Lifesteal and double your healing, so when he does 1 damage, he is going to specifically heal me for 2. And this guy can't attack. This would be one of the many death rattle cards that would work very well with Baron Rivendell, but don't make a lot of sense otherwise. Adapt your silver hand recruits. See how many silver hand recruits we can actually get on the field. Draw 2/1 attack minions from your deck. What are the 2/1 attack minions that I have? Zombie Chow and like, I don't know. Also, I guess I was playing as a druid and now I'm playing as a paladin? Interesting.
Well met.
And the greetings are all the same. So if you play Whizbang, they don't even know what character class you're playing. There's our first magnet move. And I can see how these goblin bombs will just get worse and worse as you add more to them. Let's play this. Let's do this. And I've got 2 with Lifesteal and Rush.
Reporting for duty.
So we'd add 3 Silverhand recruits. And there's another magnet. Lifesteal and Rush. Well, if I played these 2, it would kill something, and it's probably a smart move to do that. So let's do that, and do that, and end the turn. I feel like I'm going to end up with several Silverhand recruits on the field. And then it would have been a smart move to play this at that point. These microbots are just mechs. They don't have anything else special about them. Yeah, so this really isn't much of a deck build. It's crazy and all, and maybe I will play with the Whizbang decks a little bit, but it's not going to help you with any daily quests, because inherently most daily quests don't say take 1 of any known victories of any of the hero characters. The daily quests say you need paladin wins or mage wins, and if you can't pick what character you're playing as, you've got no control over that. Also, you have no control what the decks are going to be, so you don't know if you're going to play a bunch of expensive minions that cost over 5 mana or have over 5 attack, or if you're going to play a bunch of inexpensive minions that have 1 attack or only cost 1 mana. Or you don't know if you're going to play a bunch of minions or spells or weapons or combo cards. And almost every daily quest is built around having at least that idea, and almost all of Hearthstone, for me at least, is built around playing the daily quests. So yeah, that's... I don't know how this works. Let's do that.
Reporting for duty.
Play that.
Reporting for duty. To battle.
Kill this.
To battle.
This. Hit this.
To battle.
And this. And this.
I don't have
And
enough
in the
mana.
turn. Let's see, I'm gonna lose. And maybe that's because I don't know how to play this deck very well, or maybe it's because this is just kind of a crazy deck. The only real strategy I saw is to have a lot of these guys on the field so you can
Reporting for
play
duty.
this.
Reporting for duty.
So I can give them all poison. Great.
To battle. To battle. To battle.
Unless they were super poisonous and killed a hero in one hit, that's not going to be enough. And frankly, I have half a mind to just concede and move on to trying the next deck, because it's unlikely. Let's see. Place
Put your
this.
faith in the light.
And do this.
To
And
battle.
do this. And I've just lost.
To battle. To battle.
Like, the only thing that would have slightly saved me is if I equipped this and attacked. And that would have really only been a short one-turn reprieve from losing. So there's Whizbang. Whizbang is wonderful as far as the deck. Is useless in my opinion. There's just no control there. Good for somebody who's brand new who can't build their own decks, but frankly you should just go with the basic recipes, I would say, before that. And the other two we have are Custom Druid and Druid Helper. There's no real reason to play Druid Helper, because that's only for playing friends when they want to play me, and I didn't change it that much. So let's try this custom Trent deck. This is about the only strategy I see as far as the cards I got. Now, maybe somebody got some different cards. We'll look at what I didn't get, but otherwise,
versus
I think we're gonna be very much just doing the same thing.
Protect the wild.
Let's see. Trent. Get rid of that Trent. Actually, I should have kept on to that 10, shouldn't I have? Yeah, I should have held on to that, but whatever.
Job done.
Honestly, building decks around one strategy is kind of silly. It's always been kind of silly. You need probably 2, 3, maybe even 4, 5 strategies that somewhat synergize. That way, if in this instance they somehow figured out a way to destroy my synergy with Trent's, they would then be able to do something. I should be able to do something else. I should be able to cast a spell, summon something different, do something at least. And see, this card is just going to discover a spell because I'm holding on to a Trent. And this guy apparently is playing a Cthulhu deck, which that's old school. Of course, I am also playing Wild, so that kind of makes sense. So what are my 3 options here? Restore character to full health. Restore all characters to full health. And I could, let's see, kill this one, and this, and this. And then in the turn.
Protocol 7 engaged.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the Trent idea is just cheap and easy minions, which is basically the beast idea that the hunter has been using for a while. So if it was really an issue where the druid did not have a way of playing cheap minions and needed a way to play cheap minions, I guess by adding these Trents to the metagame, they've made it possible now to do that. I don't feel like that was really the case, however. I felt like the druid was doing pretty well for the past few expansions, and it didn't need to really get buffed. Ideally, I'd like to see the top 3 characters that get played the most become the bottom 3, and then the middle 3 also get knocked up to the top 3, and thus it would just always be in a crazy little cycle. Let's see, let's do this.
My brilliance knows no bounds! My brilliance knows no bounds!
And let's see, let's play this, this, and this. If I had this card, which I don't believe I actually do, this was a discovered spell. Yes, you can see that with the little present here. It was given to me as a gift. If I had this card, I'd have it in my Druid Helper deck, but it's an epic card, and it's probably not super useful for actually making decks you want to win with. Summon copies of each adjacent minions. Give your other minions +1/+1.
Imbecile!
Fully restore all characters to full health. I just lost, of course, before I could even play that card. Alright. So, where do we go from here? That Druid deck is pretty much worthless, and the Whizbang deck is pretty much worthless, although I'm gonna keep it around for just fun. Every now and then I may play it, but yeah, we kind of need to see what cards I didn't get and if there was some strategy that maybe I could have made. Whenever a minion dies this turn, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. That might be helpful in something. While in your hand, this is a 3/4 copy of the last minion you played, which that would be cool, I suppose. Draw a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost minion from your deck. I'm not sure what that succeeds at accomplishing. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 7. That's probably not super useful either. So, if I don't see any Druid cards that really synergize, it would be, for the most part, a question of maybe there's a neutral card that I would synergize with? Not really. I don't see anything here. If you have no cards in your deck, hand and battlefield destroy the enemy hero. This would be a cool card to own. It's a shame I don't have it. I could craft it certainly for 1600 dust, but I would have to craft it with some other strategy of just deck destroying proportions, and I'm not sure the Druid can do that. That probably is some other character that would be better thought. Now if you were playing Wild and you could use this on all the choose one cards, and it makes it both choose one things effects happen, and that's still a pretty good idea. Like deal 2 damage and silence a minion. Maybe not in that order. So yeah, definitely Druid decks to build, but I'm gonna have to just leave it to HS Replay. Whatever the top meta deck is for Druid, that's gonna be the one I'm playing most of the time. Interesting. Well, I guess I was debating whether I was gonna break up these deck rebuilds into their own separate things. I think I am. In the end, didn't really rebuild the Druid deck too much. My best recommendation, if you're not going to use Hearthstone Deck Tracker and HS Replay, would be to come over here, make a Druid deck, and probably just play Classic Druid. Like, more than likely, if you've been playing for a while, you have all of these cards, or close enough, and this Classic Druid set is still pretty decent, if not incredibly boring. If you happen to have all the Witchwood cards, or most of the Witchwood cards, then you probably could play this one, and this seems like this is a combination of just random cards from several expansions. Yeah, I was hoping for something more concrete though. I was hoping that there really would have been something new or interesting there. But honestly, this is probably how it's going to go for most of the deck rebuilds, is that I personally have resolved to give up and use HS Replay and use what everybody else is using to effectively cheat. But since everybody's cheating, then you get into weird Olympic blood doping scandals where the one person who didn't cheat was actually ranked 127th in the race. That's gonna be it for this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.